Good morning, everyone, live from Australia and from the E3 show floor. It is New Game Plus and Rocket Chainsaw with some thoughts on E3. My name is Donald Duong. I'm joined by Adam from Rocket Chainsaw. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you, Todd?
I am ever so sleepy, but I'm being driven by the hype fuel that is E3.
I think I'm being driven by coffee mostly.
Oh yeah. By say whatever I just said, I actually mean coffee and lots of
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah. So just some initial thoughts on Microsoft's E3 press conference because it was 90 minutes and it was quite a doozy, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, look, it was very interesting. I was expecting to see more from the Oculus partnership, but the HoloLens was a very nice surprise and a bit of variety there too. It was a very big claim, the best lineup that the Xbox has ever seen. I'm not sure that was entirely true, but it was still quite impressive.
No, I'm not quite sure they could follow through with that claim either. As
No.
in, like last year's was spectacular, but this year's was sort of okay. Might as well run through the main tent poles now. The games that actually got gameplay demos. Well, starting with Halo 5 Guardians, and that's looking a lot like Halo Reach and those classic Halo games, isn't it?
It is. Well, I mean, look, I think I saw the return of the jetpack there, or at least sort of a boost jump. But the thing is, Halo 4 looked so good that, I see Halo 5 now, and it doesn't seem like that big a jump, which isn't a bad thing. It still looks good. But the thing is, because Halo 4 was able to squeeze so much, power out of the 360, that looking at 5 now, I'm just seeing more action scenes, more of that style that 4 brought to the gameplay, but now with the 4-player co-op.
But they seem to, like if anything, Halo 4 was sort of like innovating on the graphical and technical front. This one seems to be innovating on other circles, on the actual gameplay, on level design, on the way that say your squad interacts with each other. It looks more interesting than the straight up Halo gameplay that Halo 4 provided.
It's definitely a new take on the franchise. I don't think I've seen the co-op sort of integrated or potentially this extensively. Like you said, it's a bit like Reach. I think it'll be interesting to see how the whole overall package comes together, where the story takes us next. Those massive Guardian robots in particular look very cool. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like Shadow of the Colossus exactly, but something close to that would be pretty cool, I reckon.
As someone who isn't particularly fond of the Halo storyline and the lore and how seriously it takes itself, I'm still actually interested in this just purely because it is, as you said, like a throwback to the days of Halo Reach.
Exactly. I mean, look, I also think it's a new take. I mean, rather than just the chief, this time we have a new character, Locke, and Locke's hunting the chief, and the chief's hunting the guardians. There's like a food chain happening here. It'll be interesting to see what exactly is going on. They say Master Chief friend or foe, Locke friend or foe. I'm sure they'll both be friends. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. But it should still be a fun ride.
Hmm. We also got an announcement of Recall from Kenji Inafune and the some of the old developers of Metroid Prime, and we don't know much about that, but it is intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether you guys got more information at home. On the show floor, all we saw was the trailer, really, and that little brief description. So it looks like post-apocalyptic world, and you can transfer this blue core from robot to robot so that it can power various sidekicks. And you seem to be able to take cores from other enemy robots as well. So interesting idea. Didn't see any gameplay, just a cinematic, so I can't really call, how it's going to, play out eventually. But yeah, I mean, look, new properties are always exciting, and this looks pretty cool.
Especially with the pedigree behind it as well. I was just disappointed
That's
when
right.
the robot dog went away because I was hoping for yet another game in E3 2015 to feature dog after the grand success that Fallout 4 was.
Well, I think Dog Simulator can't be too far behind. We've got Goat Simulator, so surely Dog's not too far off.
That would be my game of E3, actually. Speaking of Fallout 4, though, we got another showing of that at Microsoft's presser, and as well as the news that PC mods will be compatible with the Xbox One version, which is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not or massively into the modding community, so I can't really speak to, how important that'd be for me personally. But it certainly seemed to get a bit of an applause from the audience, and I was actually I was seated in quite a good spot, near the stage, but also with a view of the teleprompter, which
Mhm.
meant I could see announcements as they were coming up before they actually read them out. And I must admit, there was a bit of a buzz around me as soon as that modding bit came up in the teleprompter, even before it even said it out loud. So that's a good sign usually.
On that note, what was the general atmosphere on the audience floor?
Well, I mean, they seem to fill the main stage area, like the bottom with fans, like all these people wearing these green shirts saying, I was here for the best Xbox lineup of all time. So there were plenty of fans there experiencing E3, so experiencing the E3 press conference. I suppose at the behest of Microsoft. Sitting next to me was this guy who was a huge fan of the Fable series. He'd been invited by Lionhead Studios to the conference. So I think Microsoft had really had a focus on the fans this year, really trying to get in as many supporters of the Xbox brand as they could to, I guess, showcase the upcoming year rather than just media. It seemed like a bit more of a mix this time, so it was a pretty positive atmosphere.
It's like you could hear, like, just in the audience, like it was very much Sony-esque. You could hear the loud woos and cheering coming
Yeah,
from the audience during like every major little thing.
yeah.
Although I
There wasn't
imagine the
really any
cheers,
any cynical. Yeah.
yeah, I imagine there would have been massive cheers though upon the news that of Xbox 360 backwards compatibility for Xbox One.
That's right. Again, going back to the teleprompter, I saw a little thing come up saying next announcement BC. I leaned over to Anthony, who's attending this conference with me, and he said, I said, that's backwards compatibility, just you watch. And it was. It's great. It's a massive announcement. It's interesting that you have to download. Everyone had bought the Master Chief Collection before they implemented this, but that's business, and that's the way it goes.
Mm. But I was like, I'm personally, it's like it is. I'm curious as to how technically it's achievable and how like the practical implementation will be of, because they say like Xbox 360 discs can be just put in and a digital code will be provided. Is whether that system's easily exploitable or whether you just get a discounted version and have to pay for the full version. Microsoft didn't go into any detail from that. They didn't really need to though, considering they could just carry like 5 minutes of press conference with just the cheering and goodwill from that.
Exactly. Well, be interesting to see if it gets dropped as quickly as the Xbox One compatibility on the Xbox 360 did. Because I remember that a certain amount of titles were released for that, and then it sort of went away. So, but given the goodwill that they've engendered with that announcement, hopefully they do focus in a bit more on it.
They also generated quite a bit of goodwill, surprising, from the HoloLens demo. As you said earlier in this thing,
Mm.
they demoed Minecraft with HoloLens and the interactivity between the PC version and the HoloLens version, and it does look like the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, there's, Minecraft. I didn't do a lot for me because I don't play Minecraft, and not many of the people around me did either. But I imagine there's a large number of people out there, watching the conference who are crazy about Minecraft. So in that case, it was the perfect demo to show it off with. The actual technology behind it is very interesting. I mean, all I've seen so far is the screen technology, where you can paste a screen onto a wall, and it walks around with you. We've all seen that, and actually seeing a three-dimensional landscape you can manipulate is very cool. That combined with the Oculus could really give Sony a run for their money, and I'm very interested to see how Sony respond with any Morpheus announcements tonight.
I'm actually really interested to see how developers react, they'll take this Oculus, the Morpheus, the HoloLens in particular, and how they'll adapt that technology for gaming purposes. After all, like the thing that failed the Kinect, the thing that failed the Move was ultimately the lack of good games.
Well, that's it. There were a couple of good games, but I think, as always the case is, with the Kinect, it boiled down to it's like tech demos and mini game collections that couldn't carry the system. And same with the Move, and eventually same with the Wii Motion Control. If you can move it past a gimmick and into something that's necessary for gaming, that's what you need to happen. And HoloLens, if they're able to integrate it as something that's more than just a gaming platform, if that can become like a part of how you use a computer, that could do very well. And if Oculus can become a new standard in how we view gaming, then I reckon it will have a lot more staying power than say the Kinect. It could always be Oculus is the new Kinect. So be cynical like that if you want to be.
It'll first have to sort of prove its worth amongst the other VR competitors with the HTC Vive and the Morpheus, because right now we just have we have a potential fragmentation of VR technology, and it's going to be conflicting formats too, given the three different techs running behind it. So which could only hinder the potential for VR to make its way into the mainstream.
That's right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Oculus have announced their new controllers, those weird ones that go around your hand. So whether that implementation is going to be the one that everyone picks up on, everyone's just going to keep using the Xbox controller, or whether Sony's got some idea, or maybe this is Kinect's time to shine. Maybe Oculus and Kinect are finally going to start working together, but probably not.
I still have my Kinect plugged into my Xbox One, even though I shouldn't, even though it's in literally just over there, so it's probably listening into this very conversation right now. So I still have faith in the device, though. So, like,
No,
maybe.
exactly. That's what Microsoft are counting on, of course.
They're counting on
That's how
all
they get.
this user data.
They're counting on all that information they're gathering from you. So
Well, of course, they need to know what hat size I wear.
exactly. They need to know what times of the day you wear clothes in front of the TV, and what times of the day you don't.
Most of the
With me, it's
time.
basically 24/7 without. So it's not much new information.
Or more like nude information.
Hey, there it is.
Don't reward that.
No, it's
Let's
a bit
go
more
quickly.
charitable than I could have been.
Yeah, we've got 10 minutes until the EA press conference, so let's just
Hmm.
quickly go over some of the other highlights from the Microsoft press conference. The Rise of the Tomb Raider demo.
Yeah, it looks very good. I mean, I was a big fan of the original Tomb Raider. I reckon that it had a very sort of addictive quality to the platforming and the mechanics to it. And Rise of the Tomb Raider looks cool too. Of course, the demo was just one of those big set pieces where just everything falls apart. Like for some reason, Lara Croft just has the worst luck in this new line, this rebooted Tomb Raider series. Um, it looks very similar to the first game in that respect. But yeah, looking forward to it. If it's anything like the first one in terms of that open world addictiveness, then yeah.
Like, it's probably for the best that say that this game and Uncharted are releasing a distance away from each other, because otherwise, if they
Mm,
were both coming out this holiday, there would have been some tough choices that would have to be made. Not so
I
much a
suppose
tough
so.
choice though. Not as much of a tough choice though for Gears of War 4. It that closed off the E3 show, and it was just more Gears of War, which didn't necessarily pique my interest, at least on this first viewing.
Well, I mean, if you look at the title treatment, the game is actually called Gears of 4, not Gears of War now. So, no, I'm kidding, but they will do that. It
No.
looks like Gears of War, but they've dropped Marcus Phoenix, and they've got a new character, which is fine because Phoenix's story was more or less done by 3. And the universe they created with the original Gears of War games is interesting, and there's definitely room to tell more stories. And it's just, again, yeah, it's more Gears of War, more chainsaws. We've seen a lot of that so far, like in the Bethesda conference. Doom is Doom, Fallout is Fallout, Halo's still Halo. And now Gears of War is still Gears of War. But it's not a bad thing. It just means you know what to expect.
No. And these games don't necessarily demo well, if that makes sense. Like, these are the games that you
Hmm.
sort of have to have in your hand. You have to start playing yourself, because these games, Gears of War in particular, is renowned for its, I don't know, stickiness, for the want of a better phrase, with its
Sure.
gameplay and gunplay.
Mechanics. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Let's just quickly go over some of the other titles that got mentioned. Forza Horizon, it's not Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport 6, brought to you by Ford, featuring Ford.
Ford Motorsport 6 is what it's called, actually.
Yeah, I think that must have been a mistranslation in the
Mm.
live stream. We also got Dark Souls 3 coming out early 2016.
Yep, it's finally. Even though it was leaked early, we can now actually talk about it, and it looks pretty cool. I think the CGI looks amazing, but of course we haven't seen any gameplay yet. But hopefully we'll get a look during E3.
It'll echo Bloodborne for sure. But what about Sea of Thieves? Rare's new title.
Sea of Thieves. It looks interesting. It's it's done a Connect game, which I was as I was leaving the conference. I made a comment to Anthony about hopefully it's not a Connect game, and I think a guy from Rare must have been from Rare. He was passing by, so he said, "I can confirm, no Connect, just a controller." He was
Oh,
very quick to correct me, so it's there's that going for it. Look, I think everyone was hoping for a new Conquer, maybe a new Banjo Kazooie, but a new franchise is good too. I'm always a bit wary about when everyone's talking like going, massive open world MMO, everything's got to be online, especially when it comes from a developer that is associated with single player experiences. But I liked Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and this looks interesting.
Yeah, as in that's probably. I'm hoping it's just more of that, just with like there'll be the perpetual online hooks there, but as long as they lean into the universe building, which is something that, as you said, something that Rare
Mm,
excels at, then what Sea of Thieves could be a potentially good game. What
yeah.
about the Rare replay? 30 games coming to Xbox One.
Is that why they said it's got the best lineup of Xbox lineup ever? Is that how they're counting that? They're just like, we've got 30 rare games coming to the Xbox, therefore we have the best lineup ever.
Maybe it's just most lineup.
Exactly. I mean, that's fair. I think a lot of people did see this coming. I think there was some news about Battletoads. Something happened with Battletoads recently. It seems like not a bad collection. I mean, it's just going to be ports of some of those games have already had 360 ports, and I imagine that this will be just those ported over again. But yeah, some great games, and they're like Conquer and Cameo. Does anyone remember Cameo? Rare remembers
Uh,
Cameo.
memorable launch titles like Cameo and Perfect Dark
Mm.
Zero.
Well, Perfect Dark. Oh, damn. Mm.
Mm.
Oh, well,
Okay, then
that's one. Yeah, yeah.
thumbs up or thumbs down for what was that game again? Plants vs
Thumbs down
Zombies
if you
Garden
can't
Warfare
remember it.
2.
Oh, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. I haven't played Garden Warfare 1 yet, but it looks funny. So, yeah, thumbs up.
I've got my thumbs sticking up right here, and most do the New Game
Cool.
Plus crew actually. That was like the one thing that
Yeah.
a couple of things that were noticeably missing from this one were Call of Duty and Connect.
Well, Connect, I don't think anyone was expecting to really make an appearance, especially with the Oculus announcement. And Call of Duty, you're right. That must mean that we're going to see it at Sony. Must have the rights to show off a trailer this year. It will
It's
show up
surprising
eventually.
that.
Mm.
Well, of course. Like it'll show up. Like no, might show up at EA's press conference, which is just about to start actually.
Exactly. It's like, if it's about to start, then maybe, I should sign off. But it was good talking
Yeah.
with you. Enjoy the EA press conference. And I think we've got Ubisoft straight after, don't we?
Yes, we do. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Adam from Rocket Chainsaw, for joining us live from Los Angeles to talk about the Microsoft press conference.
See ya.
And tune in to New Game Plus and Rocket Chainsaw for all the latest E3 coverage. Bye bye.